Okay, so our objectives today, we're going to review the available content modules within the campaigns feature. I'm going to show you how to edit a newsletter template. I'm going to show you how to create your own custom email and custom campaign. And then at the end, we're going to review the rules of campaigns. So the rules are very important. If you break the rules, you can break the campaign. So I definitely don't want any of you guys to do that. I'm actually going to jump over and turn off my camera because I find that it's a little easier for people to concentrate on my slideshow if I turn off the camera. And keep in mind, we're recording this, so if you need to go back and take a look, I've already got some of this broken out into little short videos. So that's another resource I'll email out to the class attendees first, and then I'll place it on the updates in the hub. So talking about just the monthly newsletter. So hopefully everyone on the call understands what the monthly newsletter is. That goes out every month automatically. Our marketing department designs a newsletter, writes the content, finds the articles, the photos. So we build it for you, and I add it to your newsletter campaign every month. If you haven't kicked off a newsletter campaign, you can ask your sales and leasing manager, your office lead. You can email me for help on that. Christy's on the call. I can give you everyone her email. Just kidding, Christy. So if you haven't set up the newsletter campaign, we can help you do that. But when it's set up, you have the opportunity to add a listings module. So you can put your just listed, just sold properties in there. You can put buttons that take people to your social media accounts. You could put like a market analysis request button, additional local information. So those of y'all who maybe are targeting basically a geographic area with your newsletter, you can put that local information, or you can put additional San Antonio or Bernie or New Braunfels information into your newsletters. There's a way to add a image with a link to videos. And then also one of the coolest things is I'll show you how to do a home search button. Basically, if you have a Moxi site set up, you can drop that link into your newsletter, and it's just an opportunity for your newsletter recipients to click and search for properties, create an account, and look around your website. Basically, just kind of drives traffic to your site, gives you more exposure there. So, and I'm gonna take a look at the comments here. So, if anyone, oh Joe, yeah, you could. Joe Guerra asked. I'm gonna just if there's a couple questions here. So Joe asked, can we add office listings that are not yours? I believe you just have to have an email permission, right, from the listing agents. And then Carol said, how many listings can you add? You can add as many as you want. It just keeps dropping further down. But yeah, you want to make sure if it's not your listing, if it's within the brokerage, you just get a, writing. You get that person to say, yeah, it's fine. You can put that out there. One of the ideas could be maybe it's an open house, right? And you're sending out an email about an open house. You can drop that listing module in there. So I'm going to jump over, and I just want to check real quick. Is my screen showing Moxi Engage dashboard? Someone gives me a thumbs up, or the okay, cool. I just want to make sure I don't get 10 minutes in and I'm still on YouTube. So this is a Moxi Engage dashboard. So it's engage.jbgoodwin.biz. I'm going to jump over to campaigns here. Now, keep in mind, I'm making a couple of assumptions that some of the people, you're somewhat familiar with the campaigns product and the email product already. If you're not, I'll send out some resources in the follow-up email, and I'll also, you can just respond back, or you can ask me questions. I'm happy to help get these campaigns set up for you. So what I'm looking for here is, if I want to add a campaign, and I'm going to go through some of the basics, right? I'm going to click campaigns. I'm going to click the brokerage as a source, and we'll let that load up. So let's say I have the San Antonio area client newsletter. I haven't run that yet. This will be the first time. I'm just going to add to campaigns, close this out, and you'll see here I'll have under awaiting setup. When this refreshes, you'll see the San Antonio client newsletter. right there. So the prerequisite to edit any email that's part of a campaign is that you have to add the campaign to the awaiting setup here, and then you can edit any of these emails. And I'm going to click on this, and then we can preview what these emails look like. I apologize, it runs a little slow sometimes. So you can go down and preview. So if you have this campaign running, you can preview what the next email is going to look like. And then from here, you can add your people and then run your campaign. I'm just backtracking a little bit on the campaign setup to give everyone an idea. But I'm gonna go over to a campaign that I have running. So the assumption here is you've got your newsletter campaign set up. It's running, right? We typically publish the newsletter emails on a Monday, and they send on a Thursday, and that's either at the very end of the month or the very beginning of every month. So you should be getting an email from your office. Sometimes it's mentioned in your meetings. But we publish, let's say if it's going to go out, if it's going to go out tomorrow, we would have published it on Monday. And that gives you the opportunity to go into the newsletter. And I don't know if you guys hear the construction behind me, but they're working on the building next door. You can scroll down. You could see if the next newsletter is published. This will tell you what the name of that newsletter is going to be. You can preview. So what I really want to do is, before I go make a newsletter edit, I want to see that the next one's published. Make sure I'm going to copy this name here. I'm going to go back to my campaign dashboard. I'm going to click on my emails. Now, that newsletter, let's say I'm going to go date modified, newest to oldest. Now, if we've just published that newsletter, it'll be sitting at the very top. It'll be the most recent. So here's the most recent newsletter. Let's just pretend the August newsletter is coming up. I'm going to click on edit. And here you have the ability to change the subject and the preview text of any newsletter or any email. For the newsletters, I recommend keeping it the same. Tony, our marketing director, creates a subject and the preview text based on the content of the newsletter. So here I'm going to click on edit email content. And this is what everybody came to the class today to learn. So all of this is editable, right? Every bit of it. I recommend being careful, right? Not changing the setup of this too much. But if you wanted to add content down at the bottom, I'll show you. You can see here, I've already been making some small changes. So I leave room at the bottom of every newsletter. I leave some columns so you can go and drag content in there. So I'm going to start with rows. If you need to add a row, you can come up here and select one of these rows, and it's all drag and drop, right? Drag and drop. If you're going to have a row with an image on one side and text on the other, you drag and drop so you can put an image here and text here. So the terms I'll be talking about today are rows and content and a little bit of style. So let's say I want to drop in links to my social media accounts using social media icons. I'm going to click on content. And here you want to start with what's called group social. So drag the group social content module over and drop it. Now, if I click in the white space here, look to the right, it allows me to increase the icon size. That's a little small. I think we can make it a little bigger. Now, you may not have Google Plus, you may not have Twitter, you may have Facebook, but all of these you can edit. So if I click on the social element Facebook, go to the right-hand side, click Facebook, you can change it to any one of these other social media accounts. I'm gonna leave Facebook here. Now, I want people to click on that and go to my Facebook page. So I'm gonna go to, let's pretend this is my Facebook page. And you can see me clicking this URL, copy that. right here where it says URL, paste it in. So that way, anytime when anyone clicks on that, it'll go to Facebook. And it's the same process. I click on the Google Plus. I don't have a Google Plus account. I'll click on Google and I'll change that to Instagram. And you can see the icon updates. Then I paste in my Instagram URL. And then Twitter, I just paste in my Twitter URL. LinkedIn is a good one. I don't know if any of you guys are snapping out there. You can put your Snapchat, your Vimeo, Tumblr. Hopefully, you guys have a YouTube channel set up and you're posting your listings on that channel and your intro videos, your neighborhood profiles, so you can direct people to your YouTube channel. I'm going to jump back over. So, yeah, Scott, it's a little like MailChimp, right? The builder is called, it's like basically, open source software. But it's designed to be responsive like MailChimp. When I say responsive, it looks different on a mobile phone and on a tablet and on a laptop, but it makes it all easy to read. So that was a lot, and we can open this for some questions here. Yeah, so Phyllis, right now you have to add the listings and social media buttons every month. It's a little bit of work. It's a nice feature. I'm working with Moxi to automatically. Basically, if you have your social media accounts in your Moxi profile, it would automatically add that to the footer of every email. So we're working to integrate that functionality. Looks like a couple people asked that, yeah. And yes, Phyllis, you can have more than 3. You could do 5 or 6. So kudos to you, Phyllis, if you're that social. So I guess I want to stop here and ask, I covered the basics of launching a newsletter and also in the video and the how-to on that. But does anyone have any questions so far, any more questions specifically on accessing that newsletter template and dropping content into it? I'll give the countdown, we'll jump back in. Oh yeah, Scott, so the footer, it's basically, you can add or remove the footer from any of your emails. So it includes all of your profile information from your Moxi profile. And that's one thing I want to touch on. You want to make sure in your Moxi profile you have your Marianne put your phone number, your name, your email, but you want to make sure your photos there, your bio's there, any links to social media, your website link. You want to make sure that's all in your Moxi profile because it feeds into all your newsletters and your website and everything else. Yeah, Joe, Joe asked, can we delete whatever you want? Yeah, you can delete whatever you want. Scott said MailChimp is a little difficult. MailChimp can be. I think this is actually a little easier. It doesn't have as much functionality, but that is a benefit sometimes. So let me jump back over. Okay, so it looks like I'm still presenting the newsletter. If I'm not, someone turn on their audio and yell at me. So next, let's add the listings module. So you see here, I have these rows already available to drop in content. So if I click on content here, we have a listings module. I'm just going to drag and drop it in here. It opens up this window where, so since Moxi syncs with the MLS, if you just type in your MLS number, and this is one I've used over and over, click search, it's going to pull in this listing. Now, one thing I want you to take note of here, if you have a website, the landing page is going to be your website. If you don't have a website, it's just going to be the property information page with your information on it. We don't have a brokerage website, so don't ever choose that. I mean, we don't have a Moxi brokerage website, so don't choose that one. But if you have, some of you do the like twist tours that give you a custom landing page for that specific listing, you could use the custom URL function and put your listing landing page or single property page URL right there. I keep it with the agent website. I like to keep it with the agent website. The landing page looks great. Your information's there. And if you have an agent website, and they can click around your site and create searches and read more about you and look at your past sold. So If you have a site, I recommend leaving an agent website. Click done, and that's it. So it loads in the information. This isn't editable. It's just pulling in this information from the MLS. Obviously, this is a pending. And then this entire module, this content module here, is linked. The link takes you to your landing page on your website. I'm going to jump back. Scott, can you speak to analytics? There's not much. There's not a lot of analytics now, but there will be more in the future. Right now, you get basically open rates and unsubscribes, but they're adding analytics. They've partnered with a company called Brightlytics, so they're going to add more analytics features in the coming future. So does anyone have any questions about the listing module? Does that seem fairly simple to drag in?
I have a question. Can you hear me? It's Joe.
Yeah, Joe.
Okay, so, of course, it's got to be me.
It's Joe, everyone.
Yeah. So, so one of the things that I'm concerned about, because Aaron says that we can advertise our agents' listings now, but the thing I'm wondering, what are you talking about a landing page? Because I know I always share listings and it goes back to my website and it's what's picked up from MLS. Is that what you mean? To that URL?
So, so it's your Moxi website landing page.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I just go to like the listing, I look for it, I get the URL, and then that's what I share, and it picks everything up to social media. So is that basically the same thing that's going to be picked up here, and go to that page where the pictures are bigger? And...
I'll show you. It'll take you.
Okay.
Let me show you an example real quick.
Okay.
I'm going to pull one of our actual listings that's not pending.
Okay.
Ooh. Look at that. It's Mark Merle. All right, taking a second here, guys. Well, let me just jump into this. What I wanted to bring up, I was trying to pull one of our listings just quickly to show you. What it'll do is, if it's your listing or any other broker's listing, it's going to show you here, and it's going to have, the other broker is provided by Keller Williams or something. Well, we wouldn't be using another broker's listing, but the point I want to make is, if you're using another agent's listing in your office, it's probably going to have their information here because they're an agent within our brokerage, and this MLS is assigned to that agent. So let's say if I was using Amy Jones's listing and I left the landing page as the website, even if it's your site, it's going to have their information on it. That's kind of how the Moxi system works. Let's see, I'm going to jump real quick and see if there's any typed in questions before we go on. Same page, yeah. So let me jump over to some of the other items you can add, right? So one of the things I talked about was property search. So this is kind of a cool feature. Let's say you guys are in San Antonio, Texas. So where I am is I'm basically on, this is a test agent site. So I'm on if you have a Moxi website, this is a test Moxi website. You can go to properties, property search, San Antonio. And basically what I want to do is you can search you could say search all of Austin, all of San Antonio, or a specific area, or search for homes in 78704. You're just running a search on your website. and then you want to grab this URL. So this, like I said, this isn't necessarily expert level, but we're getting pretty close, right? I'm just gonna stick to Austin. Search for homes in Austin. So this gives you the opportunity to add a button. So if you want to say, click here to search for homes in Austin, I've got my content column open here. I'm going to drag that button in. Now to edit the button text, you just simply double click it. Okay. So I'm going to click out and I'm going to click back on this button content module. If you scroll down to the bottom, in the bottom right, and I hope it's showing the full screen, you could just paste the URL there. So what I did was I ran a custom search on my website, my Moxi website, and then I copied the URL from the top here, and I added the button content module, edited the text, and then you can just click on the module and drop in the URL for the landing page. So if we want to talk about style for a second, style meaning the color, the font, everything. So let's take a look at, if we want to change this and make it stand out a little more, button background color. So this is a third item, style, that I talked about. When you start editing a content module, it's going to open the style section. And so if I want to change the background color, I can go over here to button background color, select from any one of these colors, right? Sometimes I like to get the JB yellow in there. You can change the font size, right? Make it a little bigger, a little more prominent, which increases the button size. So it's pretty easy. I'm just basically dragging in this button content. And then you guys, this is where some of these items, and I say these are the basic building blocks of all these emails. Y'all are going to come up with 100 ideas on what to do with a button and where it should take somebody, right? I love it to take them to my website. I love that the social media buttons, it's recognizable. Everyone knows what social media buttons are, typically receiving the email. But I love driving content to my social. I can drive content to my website. I'm going to pause for a couple questions, but the next thing I'm going to show you is how to capture leads with a different kind of button. Oh, Joe, search by subdivision. So if Joe said I can't find where you can search by subdivision, subdivision is always a little tricky, and it depends on the MLS, and it's not often how do I say, the boundaries aren't often defined correctly in the MLS.
It's even an option in the search that Moxi's providing.
Yeah. So a lot of times for that, I'll suggest when you go in that you use the drawing tools, right? So you can draw, you can search the map, and you can draw the boundary, right? It's a little more, and I say that, so Joe, I'm coming from Austin, and I've worked with all these other companies and our website and Zillow and MLS and everyone's boundaries seem to be a little different. So a lot of times, like if I have a client searching for Terrytown, sometimes I'll go in there and just draw that boundary, right? And you can just, this is a terrible drawing, but I would be a little more careful. But you can also just draw that boundary, copy that URL, and then you have your Terrytown listings.
Yeah, that's what I had to do, but
yeah.
When there was an easier way. And I know that Stono, because I did a whole search on that, and it was,
now,
it was different also.
If you want a tip to save you time next time, right? And Joe does a lot of website work, guys. So I'll introduce her at the end when you want some website work done. And she created a guide, and she writes stuff, and she does a lot of stuff. She could explain her San Antonio guide. So what you could also do is when you create those boundaries, right? and you create these searches, these custom searches, you can copy this and you can see, you could create a Google Doc and drop these URLs for use anytime and use later, right? Because look, that's the actual search URL. So you could create a Google Doc to save all these searches and use them for different emails. And this is just in just newsletter. I'll show you some other custom emails, but that would be my recommendation. So I'm going to jump back over here. So the other one was, so search for homes drives them to your site, social drives them to social media. This listing, you can promote your just listeds, your just solds to your database, drive them to your website if you want, or a virtual tour page. The next thing I want to show you is get people to sign up and request a CMA, right? They don't need to sign up for the newsletter. They're already getting it. But you could do the same thing. So this button module here, you could do it. You could use it. You could create a button, or you can drag in the image content module here. And I'm going to drop in. This is a custom image that I created in Canva. So if you have a question about Canva, email it to me, and then I'll point you in the right direction to who can answer those questions. Canva is a really easy, free image editing software. I'll put a link to Canva in the follow-up email. So I've added an image here, property value, local market, right? I'm going to go over to content. I want to put a little text above that. So I'm just dragging and dropping. If you double click the text section, you get, it's just a simple text editor. I'm going to change that to a heading 1, So this home valuation request, it could be a button, it could be an image. And what we want to do is we want to take them to a Google form that just asks a little information. It basically creates a lead. These people you may already know, right? But now they're a prospect, so to speak. And it gives you opportunity to capture their home address and respond to them with a Moxi Present CMA. So if I want to make, it's the same process for the button. This is where you would add a URL to that Google form. And for images, any image can be linked to anything. So if you click on an image that you dropped in here, same thing at the bottom right, you can put your landing page URL, your Google form link right here. So I'll show you easy way to do that. If you haven't used Google Forms yet, it's forms.google.com. If you're looking at any of the products, it's this little purple form here, right? So Google Forms. If you're in Chrome, you click the 9 boxes, scroll down. Here's Google Forms. So once you go to Google Forms, I've already created the template for you. Up here, kind of top right of the page, template gallery. Open that up, and I've created an open house sign up form template and a home valuation template for you to use. So I'm just going to click on the home valuation template. It says home valuation. It's not too fancy. You can make all the edits you want, change the background color. I'm not going to get into that. But all I want to show you is just by clicking on that template, this is now your home valuation form. What I want you to do is every time you create a Google form, click on responses and click this little green icon that says create a spreadsheet. The new spreadsheet will be called home valuation responses. I'm going to put a 1 because I already have one. So we're getting to expert level now. So what this is, this spreadsheet lives in your Google Drive. It's searchable by the home valuation response title. And every time someone fills out a form, it's going to drop this information into here. So basically, this is your landing page. They click on this button or this image. They're going to go to this home valuation form. You need their name, their email, their phone number, their address. to create that Moxi presentation. Once they fill this out, you get a notification from Google Forms that you have a new form respondent. You can go take that information and create the presentation. So I'll show you how to get here. So if you want that landing page, here's when you create the form, you're in the edit mode. You click on the little eyeball to the top right, preview, that's what I did. That gives me the URL. Copy. Go back to it could be this could be your newsletter, it could be any email. Drop that URL right there. So I do realize that I just maybe showed a few people something exciting. I might be causing pain for some of y'all because I'm moving pretty quickly. But I'll encourage you to email me if you have any questions after this. But does that Google Form landing page make sense? Because I just threw in a little Google Form lesson here without anyone asking. Does anyone have any questions about the Google Form?
No, I like that. You know, one thing, Ed, I am not using the Drive for anything yet, and I'm at the point where I really need to do a massive amount of Moxi work and mail outs and all that. So
yeah, I think, and Nick, that's, I think the best thing to do is start with the newsletter, right? You create the newsletter group, start with the newsletter, launch that, and then you can get in here and start adding some of this. And I'm excited to see, if anyone on this call or if anyone does create that CMA request and gets any, not leads, this is your sphere, but you generate some prospects from your sphere. So if you do, you can email me, edward@jbgoodwin.com, and say, Edward, you're like the smartest guy that's ever worked here, and we really appreciate you. If it doesn't work, you can just tell me I wasted my time. I think it's pretty exciting. And I'm just showing you guys some of the building blocks here. I know Joe Guerra on this call is gonna go create some cool stuff because I've already seen her website. I've seen her San Antonio guide. I've seen her blogging. And not just Joe, but people have asked for this and given me some of these ideas. And I know you guys are gonna create. You're gonna come up with your own ideas. Just make sure you follow all internet real estate rules, so to speak, the legal rules. Let me jump back to here. So yeah, videos. So I'll do videos and additional local information real quick. So this is getting kind of muddled here. So if I want to go back to content, just like you see these modules here, or it's an image, it's text, or it's an image over text. You can create that too. So maybe you are using this and and you're in the Bernie office, but you want to add some Bernie information or some recent events, or maybe you have a new write-up on a neighborhood or something. What you do is if you want to create that dual column row, click on rows. You can do 2, 3, you can do like a 60-40 right or left. So I'm gonna drag in the 2 column row and click on content. Here's the image module. And then you can click on the text section. I like this one the best because it gives you a headline and a body. So image, you double click, you can upload any image you want. So let's take, who doesn't want this living room and kitchen right here? This is amazing. This is one of your San Antonio listings. I'll just double click, select the photo from my computer. There it is, dropped in, right? Whew. Drop me down. So you can go in, edit your text. Anytime you click on a text box here, you can change the format from heading. You can change the font, change the font size, bullets, right, left, centered orientation. You can create whatever you want with that. That's kind of fun as well. If you want to do video, so I know Tony did a new Square One marketing class yesterday. And he's done a YouTube class. Tony's our marketing director, pushing videos. So I show an example of that. I'm going to go to JBGoodwin. So you go to your YouTube channel, and I'm going to show you a trick here. Most computers have like a screen, you know, like screen clip or a print screen. Macs have your own little screen clipper. I'm going to clip this screen.
Is snippet good for that?
Snippet, yeah. I'm saying clipper, clip it, snippet is the actual word. I'm going to snip that out. I'm using the Windows one. You can use print screen and Control V into Paint, Microsoft Paint if you want to. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to capture that video thumbnail, right, of my video or any video you want to post. I go here, go to content, I drag in the image. So at the moment, there's no specific video content module. There will be soon, but to get around that, I am just clipping that thumbnail from my YouTube video, right? Let me go back to, let me show you that process again because I can't hit copy. Don't hit copy. You want to make sure you save this as a local file. Right. So I save it to downloads. I go back to my email editor, double click. I'm going to click here to upload. It's going to open up my downloads. Grab my thumbnail. So that looks like a video, right? People see this, they think they want to click on it so they can play this video. So you go back to your YouTube video and you right click, copy video URL, click on my image. This is just a repeat lesson here. When you click on an image and scroll down, it's going to open up that style section. You scroll down to the very bottom, paste in your URL for your YouTube video, right? And so when your recipient sees this, they click on that image, it looks like a video to them, it's going to then open up that YouTube video. And if they have Gmail, Gmail actually recognizes it, that it's a video link for YouTube on an image, and it'll actually play it within the email. So that's just something Gmail does because Google owns both YouTube and Gmail. And like I said, in the future, you're just going to have a drag and drop video content module where you would just then paste in the YouTube URL. So I'm going to pause that for just a second, see if we have some questions. Yeah, Carol asked if I can create a cheat sheet. Yeah. So typically, I'll take that presentation from today and I'll try to expand on that with some screenshots to help you out. A lot of this stuff, I already have some videos created. I'll send that out. So Vanessa said, share the form template for the CMA request. That's actually already shared with everyone. So let me jump back to this account. So if you go to, I'm going to open a new Chrome window, click the 9 boxes, go to forms. So this account is like an agent account, just like all of yours. So here at template gallery, the top right, if you select it, click on it, it'll show you JBGoodwin Realtors, and everyone has these 2 forms here ready to go. All you do is click on it one time, and now that's your version of that form template.
I have a question.
Yes.
So when I click into the home valuation, it doesn't have those bar like showing on your side on my computer. So I don't know how to set up that like Excel sheet.
Oh, so I'll show you real quick. So here, when this is, you'll see in the URL, this is the edit mode. So click on responses.
Okay.
So you want to make sure in edit mode where you see responses, and then click the little green icon, and that'll create the sheet for you. And I have an open house sign up form, and you can do the same thing. Even if you're doing virtual open houses, you can you can put that into the invite and have people sign up. The other idea for the open house is you have a tablet, computer, iPad, phone with that form opened up on it for open houses. So Lydia asked, do we create our own website or use the JBGoodwin website? Yeah, you get a free website through MoxiWorks. The requirement is we just want you adding contacts, categorizing, subscribing them to all the marketing, and organize them into groups. And then if you can set it up, we have instructions. I can send you instructions how to set that up, or you can reach out to Joe Guerra, and she can, for a small fee, do all the work for you. So Joe's on the call today. I'll put her name and email in the follow-up email. Joe's helping agents set up sites. It's really inexpensive for what it is. There's no monthly fees for our websites, and it's a really nice WordPress website.
Oh, awesome! Thank you.
No problem. So on just the video module here, does anyone have any questions about the video, dropping in videos? Basically, I'm just I'm clipping out a thumbnail from the video, adding the image, and dropping in the link. Don't have any questions? And you can email me when you get stumped, right? And well, Christy's on the call today, so she should be expert after this. You can ask Christy if you're in San Antonio for help. But I might be the only one in Austin right now that can offer support. So Edward at JBGoodwin.com, hit me up with an email or any ideas you have for campaigns, right? So people like the warm buyer prospect, warm seller prospect. You know, let's say open house seller prospect, open house visitor buyer prospect. Those are some campaigns that people have suggested. But if anyone has any suggestions, you can drop in the comments. You can email me. Just because, like I said, we're going to start building more campaign templates for everyone. So we've done a lot for the newsletter here, right? So we've kind of done too much, right? Someone asked, can you add more listings? Yeah, you could just keep dropping in listing modules over and over and over, and you could drop in tons of them if you wanted to. Carol, I hope you have 10 listings to promote. So once we feel good with this, you can always send yourself a test email, right? It'll automatically populate your email. It'll send it, and you want to make sure it looks correctly, and you can open it on your phone and make sure that looks good. And that's basically checking the responsiveness of the email. You can also preview. So it shows you the preview with the header. This is the whole email. The links don't work in the preview. I mean, they might sometimes. Yeah, they're not really gonna work. You want to send yourself a test email to test and make sure your links are working properly. It doesn't do it in the preview. Now, this was not an example of how good I am at designing an email, so don't think that I'm happy with the look of this. I just want to show you all the functionality. And this is a footer here, right? Amy Jones. Here's Amy's website. Here's all her other information, and the unsubscribe at the bottom. So if we're good with this, we're going to go to continue. You can send a test here as well if you want. You're going to click save. And what that's done is we've edited this email for the next newsletter. Back in my campaigns, I have my Austin area client newsletter running. I'm going to open up my campaign, scroll to the bottom, and preview, just to double check, right? See, it's all there. We just want to make sure that all of my changes stuck. And that'll go out. So like I said, we publish them on the Monday, or on Mondays at the very end of the month, at the very beginning of the month. Your offices should be notifying you, and it's set to send on Thursdays. Now I'm just going to go over a couple of rules of campaigns, and some people can jump off. If some people want to stick around and they want to create their own campaign, I'll do a few minutes of that. So the rules of campaigns: to make these edits, you must have campaign template already added to awaiting setup or already running, right? So to edit an email, you got to have a template already added. If you edit or duplicate a template, right, an email template, any updates we make to the master will no longer affect the one you've edited. That master is always still available in my emails, but I just want you to be aware. Let's say I make a spelling error and realize it the day before the newsletter sends out, and I change it. If you've edited the newsletter template, it's not going to change on your side. Also, if you ever change the schedule of a campaign, our new emails, like the next newsletter will no longer update. So I recommend, and when I say change the schedule, when you go into edit, you have the opportunity to change the dates. If you change the dates here, like if you see this is coming, the next one's coming up, if you change that date, it'll break the link between your running campaign and our master campaign. So that's just a little warning. I can't remove if I take away the ability to edit this, it removes the ability for you to edit a custom campaign. So don't ever change the dates. If you do, you can rerun the campaign, or you would just then manually add the newsletter emails every month. And if you're doing edits, that's not a big deal because you're already going in and manually editing the newsletter. And I'll show you quickly. So when they're running, you get an open rate and you get an unsubscribe rate. That's about it. So your analytics, Scott brought up earlier, these are the only analytics available right now. Here's a new feature. If you click on neighborhood news and campaigns, it gives you an activity, an open rate for your neighborhood news, an unsubscribe rate, and a feed of who you're sending it to and who's actually opening the neighborhood news. So if you see Ed T in here like all the time, he's probably pretty interested in real estate. So I'll jump back. So I'll look at that. Someone asked about the home valuations and how the response shown. I'll reach out to you directly about that. So does anyone have any questions up to this point on editing? And basically what I did with the newsletter campaign and the newsletter email, you can do with any email you want. You can make any edits you want. Does anyone have any questions up to this point? Alan, I know you're going to be in there. I know Joe is going to be in there. Carol, I know you're always using all these tools. Does anyone feel like it's probably a little more difficult than you thought? Joe, what do you think?
Oh, sorry, I had yeah. Well, I think it's a little, I hate to say this, but compared to some of the other newsletter templates that I've used, I think it's a little quirky. You know, it's a little, maybe a little older technology, but I don't know. I mean,
well, yeah, like Brian Manning said, it's kind of like MailChimp, but then he said Brian said MailChimps can be difficult to set up. So they purposely they're slowly releasing some of the modules, right? So they're testing and releasing. But for the other reason is I have a little more access as an admin and I can do more. And I'm actually like writing code to create these. But if you think about like all 700 agents doing it, they're trying to make it accessible for everyone. But like I said, we're going to create campaigns for you guys. So campaign templates that'll be accessible. So you don't have to do a lot of the design work. Maybe you're just dropping a link in or editing some text.
Oh, that's good. That's so good.
I'm asking everyone here, and I ask people all the time, hey, send me those ideas so I can feed them over to the designer and the marketing department so we can get those set up for you. Oh, Scott, sorry. Scott, I still call Brian Scott Manning. Brian. Well, cool. So at this point, you've heard me talk for a long time. If anyone wants to jump off, you can. But I would like to show anyone who wants to, let's say you want to create your own follow-up campaign, your own custom follow-up campaign, or your own drip campaign, I can show you all that right now. So does anyone want to stick around for a few minutes and learn that?
I tried that, and you know, from my landing page that I created for that giveaway, and Moxi could not help me do it.
Well,
So
you gotta call me.
Well, I went over to Light and did it instead. It's all done.
I'll show you this. Well, let me show you this campaign here. So if you could jump off now, right? This gets into a little more. We're creating campaigns and moving things around and duplicating emails. So if you feel like you had enough, you can jump off. But I can continue on. I'll show you real quick some examples. So basically, this is the process for creating a custom campaign, right? You're going to grab a campaign template that I've set up. You're going to rename and edit the email, and you can duplicate those emails, edit them, and you can add emails and edit the days they send out, right? So I'm in my campaigns. I'm going to go to add from library. And here I just select brokerage. So it loads a little quickly. The source is the brokerage, is campaigns that we've created. So if you have campaign sequential dates, or I have like a single send campaign, a single email template, let's say you want to send out one email, you can add this to campaigns, close it. I'm going to go back to awaiting setup. It's sitting right here. So I'm going to click on it to see what that email is called for this campaign. So it's called email 2, right? I'm going to go back. So now I want to edit that email. I'm going to go to my emails, similar process to the newsletter. Date modified, newest, oldest. Here it is. Sometimes I just hit Control F to search for it and type in the name of the email. So I want to edit this email. Again, here's where you can edit the setup. You can add your own subject, your own preview text. You can include or exclude the header and footer. Signature is for another day. Click Save. Edit email content. So here is a really generic template. It requires you to do all the work, right? So if you like to do all the work and want to do it, you can. I showed you how to all the building blocks of an email. Let's say I want to change it to change template. These are templates MoxiWorks created. These are email templates. You can use any of these templates, right? One of them is a multiple listing template or a listing promotion with multiple photos. But here's a home valuation template I created. One of the things I want to point out is we're going to continue to add templates that we design here. So if you have template requests, send them over, we'll drop them in. So I'm going to change the template, confirm, and you can see now this is a very simple what's your home worth property valuation template. So here, just like I said, you can drop in the Google form URL on the button and on the image, preview. This is what it's going to look like. Continue, save. I'm going to go back to my campaigns. It's awaiting setup here. Now we want to run it so it's available for everyone. If I wanted multiple emails, I'll show you. So you can see here, email 2, 0 days after start. So that's basically as soon as you add someone to this campaign, they get the email right away. But you can always edit the schedule. This is where you're allowed to edit the schedule. And this is days. So there's days versus dates. There's campaigns that are dates of the year. And these are days after you add someone. So if it's a follow-up campaign or if it's a one-time send, it's 0 days. If it's a follow-up, I met you at open house, maybe I'm going to email you 2 days later, right? And then I'm going to add another email, right? And email you 7 days later. So the idea is when you've added someone to this campaign, they get the initial email and it's a drip campaign now. So I'm going to cancel this out because I don't have my secondary email set up. If I want to create another email, right, this is that email. Let's see, let me drop it to email 1. So if I want to create a secondary email, I'm going to click the 3 dots to the right, duplicate that email, and see email 1 copy. Let's edit. This is very important in the setup. Edit name. Name these emails so it's right. So you don't lose them. So it keeps them organized. Same thing. Go to edit content, change template. Right? Maybe it's a home valuation at this point. If they're a seller prospect, maybe you've sent that as a first email. Maybe the second email is just some local information, or maybe it's buy versus rent or whatever. You can create your own. You can add a template, edit a template. You can start from scratch. Right? It could just simply be text. Right? And in this text, you can insert placeholder, which could be contact's first name, right? So it could just be a simple follow-up text email. Same process, continue, save. I'm gonna go back to this campaign we're trying to run. And you can click this or you can click edit, it doesn't matter. We're gonna get to edit either way. So I clicked edit. So I know email 2, it sounds funny, but it could be email 1. But let's say I want to add an email. It automatically drops your most recent one here, but here's all of your emails by date edited. So right, this is my open house follow-up second email. So I want this to go out as soon as I add someone to the campaign. And then I want this one to go out 5 days later. Preview, you can view your emails here, save. Let me change the title of this real quick. So when I go over to the contact section, it'll make sense. So back. So I want to quickly show you under My People how you add people to this campaign. So under My People, well, let me run this. Sorry. So we have to run. We obviously have to have the campaign running. So run campaign before people receive the emails. So that campaign's now running, right? It's under running. I'm going to go to My People. I apologize. I'm an hour in. I need more coffee. So as you meet people at an open house or wherever, or whatever the instance is, or whatever the follow-up campaign is, as you meet people, right? You can select them here and click Add to Campaigns, confirm, and you can just add them one at a time. Add these new leads to campaigns. So it makes it super easy. So let's say I've met test contact here. I'm going to add to my open house follow-up. I'm going to add them to my newsletter campaign. Done. They're going to start getting both of those campaigns. Maybe I want to go ahead and add them to custom neighborhood news. This is another campaign, and I'm going to create the custom search so they'll get their monthly CMA every month. Okay. So Carol said, can you just create by group and add them to group? Yeah, you can do that as well. So if you associate the group with the campaign like you do with the newsletter, you could just add them to the group. I was just kind of trying to be fancy and show some of the new functionality. Carol, is the image you created available for use? If it's about the home valuation, yes, it's actually an email template already available within Moxi campaigns. Can you add? Yes, can you add people sporadically to the same, or do we have to create a new drip cam? No, you once you run the campaign, you can just add them as they come in. So if you have it day 0, day 4, day 5, day 0, they're gonna get email. 4 days later, they get the email. 5 days later, 7 days later, whatever you set up. So that last bit was kind of expert level, right? But my hope is that you now realize you have the ability as an agent, and I was in an agent account, to create follow-up drip campaigns, create your own campaigns. We already have some buyer-seller campaigns, and we're going to add the open house campaigns. But if you guys want to send out just a bulk email with a video embedded, or you want to send out a series of emails to your sphere, you can do that. You can create all that in campaigns. Does anyone have any questions at the very end? I appreciate you guys hanging around for a little over an hour. Yeah, Christy said leasing campaign. Yeah, I mean, so we could be targeting investors. We could do rent versus buy. Those are some as well. But if you want to email me, Edward at JBGoodwin, if you have campaign ideas, if there's any part of the class you got stuck, or you have questions, or I'm moving fast, you can always email me and I'll help you. I can even get into your account and run your campaign for you if you're unable to run that newsletter campaign. So this is recorded, I hope. I've got some videos. I'll just send out a follow-up email with some links to training and some little short videos that kind of explain what I went over today, with a link to this video as well. So thank you guys for showing up. The campaigns feature is pretty exciting to me, and I'm excited to see what you guys are able to create with that new functionality. So everyone have a great week. Email me if you have any questions.
Thank you, Edward.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks,
Alan,
Edward.
Joe, Christy.
Yeah, appreciate it.
You're awesome.
And everyone else. I didn't catch everyone's names. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.